Earlier today, President Joe Biden said that maybe he would consider dropping out of the presidential race if doctors confirm that he has some sort of health issue or medical condition. But prior to that, he was getting real snippy with Democrats who have been calling on him to drop out of the general election, out of the presidential race. And so during a call with congressional Democrats, he apparently had a heated exchange with Congressman Jason Crow. So let's take a look at how that conversation went down, and then we'll discuss.
What Jason Crow said to the president in this call was Americans want a commander-in-chief who can project strength, vigor, and inspire confidence at home and abroad. They need to feel that you have the helm when they go to bed each night, despite your many successes and the dangers of Trump. We are seeing overwhelming evidence in our districts that many voters are losing confidence you can do this in a second term. It's not fair, but it's true. Very, very blunt and very direct. The president responded to Crow, an Army Ranger, we should note, who served 2 tours in Afghanistan and 1 in Iraq, that he knows Crow is a Bronze Star recipient like Biden's son, Beau, but that he didn't rebuild NATO, meaning Crow. According to 2 sources familiar with the call, the exchange got even more contentious when Crow pushed back on the president, who also argued that NATO leaders are supportive of him. Now, Crow told the president that he needs to understand that voters aren't seeing him that way. At one point, Biden told Crow to cut that crap out, and that if Crow wants to walk away from him, then he can walk away.
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team. I can't believe he used the NATO line with Congressman Jason Crow and kind of belittled his role in the military and his multiple deployments to Afghanistan. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is not good.
Yeah, but things are falling apart at the seams. So if you're trying to prove that the president is in stable mental condition and he comes on and gets asked a normal question and he starts yelling at the congressman, your mission is not accomplished. You've been counterproductive. And so what did he not expect, Jason? And by the way, to be fair, they might not have expected any Democrat to ever object because they have taught Democratic Party overall obedience so thoroughly that if you ever have the temerity to disagree with a Democratic leader, they're furious. They can't even believe that anybody could. So when Crow states simply the troubles and how do we respond, Biden's outraged. He's never heard criticism before in his life from other Democratic politicians. No, didn't we teach you all to obey? Wasn't I dog walking you a minute ago, right? And so now all of a sudden I am the leader, how dare you? And that's why he's in a rage and he can't contain himself. So he just yells at him and makes the situation worse. And that led to an even bigger rebellion within Congress for Democrats. Totally counterproductive. Every single interview, every single behind the scenes meeting is counterproductive. He snaps at everybody, loses his train of thought. He's an absolute mess. And it sucks that you're forcing us to say that he's a mess when the guy's obviously in mental decline. He's got some sort of dementia or Parkinson's, and we shouldn't be sitting here telling you how bad a shape he's in. We should be wishing him well and hoping that that he's okay.
Fair to end this way is actually pretty tragic. Okay, like there's a huge part of me that feels really bad for him. I feel a lot of sympathy for him, but at the same time, I feel a certain level of rage toward those around him who have encouraged him to remain in the race, who have encouraged him to continue doing public appearances and speeches when almost every single one of those has been a complete and utter disaster, especially following that debate performance. It's just gross and it's sad. And I think we're getting closer to the point where Biden will finally listen to that advice to drop out of the race. Hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. But before that happens, for now, it appears that the DNC is forging ahead. They are moving forward with that virtual roll call vote before the Democratic convention, which would essentially solidify or confirm that Biden would be the Democratic nominee. Now, the initial reason why they claimed that they were doing that is because they wanted to meet the Ohio deadline to ensure that Biden would appear on the Ohio ballot. But Ohio passed legislation moving that deadline back until after the Democratic convention. So there was no reason for them to continue to move forward with that virtual roll call vote. Now, what's interesting, Cenk, and you should savor this because this might be the only and potentially last time we see reporters and hosts do their jobs and tell the truth. Because Jake Tapper called out the DNC and its lies about holding that virtual roll call vote prior to the Democratic convention. Take a look.
One of the things that the Democrats are trying to do right now, the Democratic National Committee, you said the voting takes place in September. That's voters. The delegates, they're trying to get the delegates to start voting next week in days. They want the train to leave before the convention. They want to lock this in because they know that Democrats are really trying to push him out.
And party officials privately are pushing back on that hard. And the reasoning that they've used is this Ohio ballot situation that Ohio officials say has been resolved, right? Like that has been resolved.
The DNC is
lying about that. But the DNC is saying their lawyers are telling them that that's not the case.
The DNC is lying about that. Direct quote from Jake Tapper. Love to see it.
Look, we've been saying things like the DNC is lying for a while now, but we were considered, persona non grata for saying things like that. How dare you? You can't say things like that about people in leadership with power. But now all of a sudden they've lost their power, and even mainstream media is saying they're liars. And remember, back in the day, before all this, was revealed, Jamie Harrison, the leader of the DNC, is a very powerful person and can direct money to certain candidates and not to other candidates, etc. But now that Biden's a goner, Jamie Harrison's a goner. So he no longer has any power because the new candidate will pick a new head of the DNC.
Love to see it.
And that is why the Jake Tappers of the world now have permission to say that he's a liar. Whereas
tap into that Tapper, okay? Tap into it. I like it. I like the honesty.
That I'll take. Credit where credit is due. Super happy to have it. Okay, but look, if somebody had called on cable news Jamie Harrison a liar a month ago, okay, they would have been called racist immediately. And that's the thing that they always hide behind, et cetera. They hide behind identity politics. You can't do it to Joe Biden because he's just a straight white male, right? But if you said it about Jamie Harrison as well, that's it. We got him. We're gonna just call him a racist. We're done with it. Well, it's not working anymore because they've lost their power and it's over. So look, and we've got the petition, as we told you, tyt.com/campaign/dropout. The link's in the description box. Make sure you sign it, push it over the edge. And then finally, the last thing for me is, these guys have been lying about this Ohio thing for quite some time. And I shared with you guys that a delegate, about 4 days ago, contacted me and said that they're gonna do this vote at the end of next week. So we had that story first. And this is what's so frustrating about mainstream media. And I sent it to mainstream media. It's a direct quote. And they're like, no, it doesn't count. Because it comes from you, it doesn't count. And then once they figured it out 3 days later, they're like, did you know they're still planning to do a roll call vote? Yeah, I know, that's what we told you. Right? So it's super frustrating. And the person who's gonna make the ultimate decision here, as you guys know, is the First Lady. So you know what? If Biden persists for a couple more days, like criticizing the First Lady is the ultimate third rail. That makes the powerful very, very mad, right? And it would let Joe Biden would be apoplectic. So we're the only ones doing it because she's the one making the decision. Every reporter says she's the one making the decision, right? So once it touches Jill Biden, then this whole thing's gonna break apart. That means mainstream media is 100% positive he's a goner. Otherwise, they would never insult the first lady. And once they start going after the first lady, Joe Biden's gonna pull out, because then the first lady's gonna realize, oh, people are onto me. And I don't wanna be criticized. I don't mind humiliating my husband, but I don't wanna be criticized, and he'll drop out.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.